I want to welcome you to what I think will be our last midweek update that we'll need to do before we open up for worship again here in the church. We're beginning worship on Sunday, June 14th. That's not this coming week as I'm filming, but the Sunday after that, on the 14th. And I want to talk a little bit about what you can expect when and if you come. We realize not everyone should come right away. We realize that we have, because of caution and concern for everyone's health and safety, delayed what we thought maybe our start date could be, and we're kind of in line with many of the Methodist churches that we're starting to hear from. A few had started already. Some are going to start about mid-June, like we're talking, some even later maybe, but we're glad to be at least offering the opportunity that some of us can gather and worship together again here in this sacred place. Now, we will have video worship that will be offered each week right after we've taped the service that we'll be doing. So you'll be able to see a worship sometime that day and enjoy that if you cannot come to that worship service. Now, first thing you're going to notice if you come in are going to be open doors, because we don't want to have a lot of pulling of handles and the knobs to turn. We want you to be able to just make your egress in easy and safe, and so that's where you'll see signage, such as one at the elevator that will be encouraging you just to ride the elevator with members of your immediate family. You'll be encouraged to follow the CDC guidelines for safe practice in this pandemic. You'll be encouraged to wear masks, but we know that isn't always the case where that's possible for some or the choice for some. So we just simply invite you to. We'll have some if you want one, just like this. I just pulled this one out of our stockpile, but I wanted you to see that this is how we're ready. We have supplies. I've talked about this once before on one of our midweek updates. We're going to go ahead and have everything ready so that we can open up again. And the plan is good, but we'd like you to be safe in distancing. So when we come through here, this is, at least for the short term, this is no longer called the gathering area. It's called the passing through area. And you'll just pass through, and there won't be food. There'll be no coffee and no donuts and no cookies and juice and other things over here for you to enjoy like I know you normally would like. But right now, we can't risk doing that. But you'll be coming in, and as we gather in here and come, you'll see that we've done a number of things to provide for your safety. Of course, we have hand sanitation stations, both here in the gathering area and inside the sanctuary, where they're automatic disposal kind of hand sanitizers, and you'll have those there. If you wish gloves, we'll have gloves, and you can use them. We have a cleaning cruise. And if you want to be a part of one of our cleaning crews, just let Teresa know in the office sometime. Those are the things that are going to be very important for us. Keeping our social distancing and kind of moving through to the sanctuary. So let's go in there and see what's going to be different a little bit in our sanctuary. As we come back to church, you're going to see some new things, not only in how we're creating the physical environment of precautions for each of us, but also in some other ways. Now, if you paid attention just a few moments ago, you were able to see the new carpet in what is not at this moment the gathering area, but is traditionally our gathering area, and maybe noted the new paint on the walls. All of that has been cared for. You'll also get a chance to see some more, but I want to talk about what you'll see in the sanctuary. As you come in, you'll be instructed to come right through And we'll have someone cleaning the handrails there in the entrance of the church constantly, ongoing through our coming and going before and after worship. But as we come and gather here, there'll be bulletins in pews, and you'll see some of those examples I just stuck to there. But there'll be bulletins in pews where you can sit. If there's a bulletin or two there, you can sit there. There'll be 2 pews in between where each of the pews that we'll be using are. So not just every other pew, but every 3rd pew that we'll use to make sure that there's a good, safe distancing. And then we'll also be able to do some things like we've removed all the hymnals and the Bibles and the registration pads and those type of things out of the pews, so there's nothing that we have to continue to overly wipe down. The words that we'll be using for the creeds and other things will be in the bulletin or on the screen, but most particularly in the bulletin probably, especially at first. So we want you to know that will be how we'll kind of provide some of this and do what we're doing. Now, when we come to that first Sunday on the 14th, one of the things that I want to do is serve communion. So as you come into the sanctuary, and even before on that 14th, even before you get to the pew that has a bulletin in it, you're going to come by one of the communion rails, and we'll want you to stop at that communion rail and take, if you would, one of these cups. Now, this is something that I understand isn't entirely new to our church. It's interesting. I actually experienced communion with one of these about 5 years ago when I was visiting down in Florida. Deb and I were down at her parents', and I was worshiping at a local church there, and I guess it was in general flu season, or maybe they use them all the time anyway, but this is a special type of communion element where everything's self-contained. So you'll take it with you to the pew, and then when we instruct you, you'll peel back the top, and there's the wafer for the bread. Then after you eat that, you'll peel the second peel, and there is the juice for the cup of Christ. So this is an opportunity for us to commune in a safe way. And we'll continue to do this for a while yet as we continue to deal with, again, this coronavirus and the reality. It would only take one person in our congregation to get ill and or possibly die for me just to not be able to handle that reality. Just one. So I want us all to bear with all of the requirements, because we're going to try to make a worship service that will cut through all this and draw us close to the heart of God, and I think we'll do it. There won't be a choir, there'll just be a couple singers and some instrumentalists, and mostly we're going to reflect on communion and prayer, because certainly our country needs some prayer. One of the other changes you're going to see as you come in is some work that's been done here in the chancel. No longer am I standing on top of the organ right now in what was in a pit. Right now I'm in an open area for the chancel and have the organ over here by the piano where we can use that and enjoy the music there and worship. So enhancing the ability for the choir and really us to do a number of things in worship. Michael and I have liked this, and it's been a dream of Michael's for a long time, but for safety caution too, there have been incidences where with this pit that was here and our choir coming in, you see what, you probably never noticed if you're not in the choir, what a small area you have to walk in. If there was a back of an organ in a pit, and if I step down like this, I'm stepping all the way down into a pit. Now I'm not. And so we'll use this area and be able to have it a little more open if we want. If we want to take out the pews for pulpit chairs, if you want to call them, up here in the chancel, that too would then open up more room when we're doing special services or drama maybe. or we have readers, or we have special musicians to come forward with a large choir and instruments. So Daron and I were talking a moment ago, wouldn't it be great to have a nice area like this for a string bass to just sit and play, and all the different things, a saxophone player back here, something to enhance our service, an opportunity for the choir to get a little bit better assembly than they were when they were scattered out long. So we're excited about some of this and thankful that we were able to accomplish this, especially because all of this woodwork here, the work of ripping out the organ, taking the organ up, ripping out the flooring there, putting in new foundation and flooring over here so the organ would be able to withstand the flooring, that withstand the weight of the organ, and then be able to build a foundation under here so that this flooring would be laid and even and smooth. And all of this was done through the gracious work of Stan Rader in our church and some of his sons who work for him in a woodworking factory on the other side of town. And so we're certainly appreciative of what they've done, because they did this at no charge, and that was entirely gracious. So we're also having some wiring and things done, because you know sometimes we have different types of interference because the wiring's pretty old. So we've accomplished some other things while we were able to have some of this wood up. So it's been a really good project, and I'm really excited about that. There's so much that we're going to be doing that we're excited. I can't wait. A week and a half. I can't wait till we can gather together. I want you, though, to know, until that time, I'm praying for you. And always am reminding you, even if you're about to get discouraged with the pandemic and the racial tensions and all the things happening, don't forget what I've been telling you of late. God is good, even when the times aren't. God bless you.